it's a podcast.
Hey guys, what's going on? This is Aaron, aka StudMuffin Supreme, and welcome to episode number 2 of And Now It's a Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about something that's very near and dear to me, as you can see by the picture here. We're going to be talking fully in depth about my experience auditioning for America's Got Talent in 2024. In case you don't know and aren't aware, I was featured in season 19 of America's Got Talent that aired on June 11th, 2024. This is when my episode aired. And I kind of want to just take this episode to kind of take you on the journey that I went through there to get on that show. Now, I've kind of went over this before in a video on YouTube and TikTok, but I actually want to detail like everything that happened when I was there. So there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that happened to me on there. And since the episode's well past aired, and obviously I didn't win it, I think I'm okay just to tell you at least what I went through during my audition process. So, yeah, kind of a big shock that happened, actually. To be honest with you, before I ever got the opportunity to go on AGT, the only other TV show that I was considering ever appearing on, if given the opportunity, was MTV's Ridiculousness. They actually reached out to me asking if they could use one of my clips from TikTok and use it on their show, and they'd pay me like $100 or something. And the clip actually wasn't of me on front of the camera. It was a stupid voiceover I did where I'm driving down through my local town, and there's like an auto body shop that's got half of a car, like this, the rear half of a car, cut in half, sticking out of the ground, and I made some stupid comment of, "Sir, that's not a parking spot." And that video kind of had a little bit of viralness on TikTok, and they liked it, and they wanted to use it. Long story short, they never ended up using it, so I never actually made it on TV at that point. But not too long later, probably about a year or so later, I want to say end of August or early September of 2023, I received an email from a casting agent that first they contacted me on Instagram, and they said, "We're interested in potentially using you to audition and like you to be a part of the next season of AGT." They have to understand, at first I was a little apprehensive because it's like, why? What am I being asked to do? Like, I don't use a special talent. I just make stupid videos on Instagram and TikTok. So I went along with it and to see what was going on. And they set up some FaceTime meetings on the computer, and they actually wanted to seem serious. And it felt like they seemed serious. And so I had some preemptive interviews with producers of the show. You start out with like the recruiter, and then that takes you over to like a next level producer. And then the more you get into it, the higher up the chain you talk to, because once you keep going, it's the people close knit with the production, because they want to kind of get an idea of what you're about and stuff. So I had an interview with the recruiter, who asked me about my history and all that stuff. I talked to them about it. They seemed to like me, so they moved me on to another producer, talked to that individual. Then I actually spoke with the gentleman that I would end up interacting with at the audition itself. I wish I remembered his name. I'm so sorry. He was a really cool dude, very accommodating. And that was the one thing that I was kind of worried about. And self-admittingly, some of my family was a little bit worried about, because they didn't understand the whole motivation. They did not want it to be something where, I'm a fat dude. They didn't want me to be brought out like a lamb to the slaughter. They know they're going to make fun of me. Just because, past, my family has reservations because they don't want people making fun of me, which is understandable. But I knew what I was getting into when I did it. But thankfully, their fears were not justified, because the people that worked, the producers at AGT, were nothing but amazing. They were really awesome, and they accommodated not just me, but everybody that was there. But anywhooser, so after talking to several people, these interviews where They basically were asking me, okay, the reason we're picking you is we saw your Slipknot video. I did a video with the Slipknot song, Before I Forget, where I do my hip bouncing, my little dance to the beat. And that's what caught their attention. That's what ultimately caught the recruiter's attention, which was weird because I would assume it would have been like my "And Now It's a Hat" video, because that was the most popular thing. But no, that's what he liked, and that's what got their attention. And they said, we want you to do that on our show. And at first I was like, are you guys desperate for talent? Because number one, it's not really a talent, it's more of a goofy gimmick that I do. But I'm like, okay, all right. And at that point, I kind of knew, look, they're not looking for me to come on here and blow the world away. This wasn't going to be $1 million act. I wasn't making it past the opening audition. There's just no way about it. And in fact, one of the producers I spoke to, one of the higher producers, kind of alluded to it. She said, just go out there and have fun, just take it in stride. You're going out there just, this is good because this could also lead to your social media you got the exposure, right? And that's really what, is that at the end of the day, that's what really counts. So in a nice way, without telling me, they reassured me that you're not being put on here because you have some world amazing talent. We want people on the show that will be entertaining, for good or bad. And that's the thing. I knew that going in. So I wasn't going in there thinking, oh, I'm going in there to win, right? Like my grandmother, who's one of my biggest supporters, she's like, why don't you go on there and sing? I love your voice. I'm decent. I'm not the world's greatest singer by any means, but I tried to explain to her that's not what they wanted me on there for. They want me on here for this dance video. So, more and more we have these conversations, and it gets to the point where we'll start actually talking about what I would be doing on the show. So it was like getting really real now. It's like, okay, I'm going to be on this. They're like, well, what song would you want to dance to? And they would ask me, and I was like, well, I mean, if you want me to dance to the one I did on my TikTok, the Slipknot song, I can do that. But then they made suggestions, and there's a couple of different suggestions, but the one that ultimately ended up being on the show, they brought up the Pump the Jam song by, I believe, the Tectonics. Sorry. And it's funny because the producer said, the reason we'd like for you to do this song is because it's one of Simon Cowell's favorite songs. And I swear to you, the thing that I said immediately was, I said, so you want me to ruin that song for him? And she started laughing. And she's like, I guess they didn't realize how self-deprecating I was myself, and how I kind of joked about myself. So she's like, I suppose. But yeah, that's the reason that song was ultimately chosen, which is funny because I actually did a TikTok dancing to that video a long time ago. Actually, not to that song, a long time ago. So, okay, I've done this one before. This is the one you guys want me to do. It's easy. It's simple. That's what we'll do. And then they're like, okay, well, ultimately, if we want you on the show, we will reach back to you here in the next couple of months, give you the details if we decide to move forward. Because we're going to take it, I guess, to the final stages of are we going to bring this person in? So I think it was around January. I got a phone call. Hey, we're going to do this. We want you on the show. So we're going to have you choose a potential a date, because they give you like a set schedule of dates you can choose, because they film this show over a course of a few months. So they give you options. And I ended up choosing mid-March. So they said, okay, you're going to get your airfare taken care of. We're going to fly you out there, book your hotel, everything. You're going to get to fly out on us, which is awesome, because to be honest with you, I was scared to death of flying. I've never flown on an airplane before. And I'm like, well, they want me out there. And my wife was like, is this what you want to do? You're going to fly on an airplane? I'm like, if they want me to come out there and they're willing to pay me to fly out there, I'll suck it up and I'll fly an airplane out there. I don't care. So then it was all deciding who was going to go with me. Obviously, they don't accommodate your family that goes with you. They only anybody that's a part of the act itself, which I understand. My wife went with me. Um, Her best friend Raven went with us. My mother and my grandmother went out with us. The rest of my family couldn't go. Obviously, my grandfather, who was not in the greatest health wise because of his cancer, couldn't go. So my father, my sister, and my brother stayed behind just in case because they would need to stay there with him. But my grandmother definitely wanted to go. She actually kind of was struggling whether or not she wanted to go and leave my grandfather home, but he told her to go. We all told her to go because she's like my biggest fan. So is my mother. Like, and I knew, I think you two need to be there. Plus, I have family out in California that my aunts and uncles out there who are all big supporters of me. They were going to stay with them, and we were all just going to be there. It was going to be great. So I'd take my airplane out there. Take my airplane. Wow, I flew on the airplane out there. It was my first time flying. Had a layover in Chicago. Realized how crazy airport travel can be. Finally made it to Los Angeles, and I think it was we made it there Friday night because I was going to be there Friday night. Saturday was going to be like pre-production days where they go over stuff with you. They make sure your wardrobe's done everything because in the prior filming, like the interviews I was doing, I didn't mention they went over wardrobe. Like, what would you be wearing? Give us some outfit ideas that you would be wearing, and we'll let you know which ones you can wear and whatnot. So what I ultimately ended up wearing, as you can see right there, the red shirt and the blue jeans. There was also the blue jeans. Plus, I have my blue shirts. You've seen me in my TikToks. It's the same shirt but different colors. But ultimately, we went with the red. And they're like, please keep your shirt tucked in your pants. I guess because you want to see my front butt. Okay. Anyway, so that Saturday would be like where they do all the final adjustments, what you want to do, going over things. They take you out on the stage, blah, 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 all this pre stuff. I'll get into that when I get to it. And then, at least for me, Sunday, this was my schedule. And then Sunday was going to be my audition, like where they actually tape my audition in front of the audience and the judges. So I get there Friday night, checked in my hotel, really nice hotel. In fact, it was the hotel literally next to the theater where they filmed it. So they were hosting mostly people who were auditioning. So there were some people that auditioned on that season that were there. I didn't see the janitor guy. I forgot his name. The one that ultimately won. I didn't see him. Uh, but nice hotel. And then I was supposed to report the next day, the Saturday, early morning. I wasn't aware this was going to be an all day thing. However, they tell you to be prepared to be there all day. So my wife and her friend Raven, they go off and do their thing. My family does their thing. This is pretty much, I'm here all day. I literally could just walk from the hotel right around the corner to the theater, right? So I go there, get checked in, and here's the thing: they take you into that floor. You've seen it in a lot of the video packages, the big AGT sign in the big room with the mirrors and people walking around the back. That's like the holding tank. That's where they keep everybody that's there to either audition or check in. So when I was there was people there that were waiting to audition that day because they were filming that day too, plus people that were there to do their pre-production stuff. And I'm going to be honest with you. I did 90% of my day, talking about from like 10 in the morning to like 9 at night or 8 at night, was just sitting. They would have you move to different, hey, we want you in the back shot for this. We're filming this guy and that guy. It's funny enough, I forgot his name, but he was the Nigerian comedian, the Nigerian comic, the one with the colorful jacket. You can actually see in his video package where they're showing him in his segment. I'm actually in the background of that because I remember they were filming him for his interview, and they had me and a bunch of other people. They're like, we want you to sit over here so you can be in the back shot and you guys just talk, right? So like, okay. So that was interesting. Saw a lot of different cool things. I forgot her name. The girl that played the metal riff on the guitar. I think she was... forgot what her name was. And then there was the other little girl who won the gold buzzer. I was sitting next to her family while we were background characters. So I got to see these cool people. the lady with the big bloodhound and the other dog. I actually had a video of the bloodhound walking by me because I was filming it, and they were taking her and the dogs to like the stage area because they were going to do some shots. So I got to see some really cool people. I ended up being really chummy with. She was the tiger lady. She didn't make it very far, but you've probably seen her. She dressed like a tiger and was doing a comedic act, and the judges didn't like her, but she was I think her name was Brenda Gallagher. So shout out to Brenda Gallagher if you see this. Very kind lady. We were paired together to sit in a back shot of something, and we ended up talking, and I didn't really talk to anybody there because I was nervous. I felt like I knew who's going to talk to me. I looked stupid, but she was actually really nice and made it very enjoyable to kind of just sit around while we waited all the time. So again, Brenda Gallagher, shout out to you. You were really awesome. So then we get to some. They every now and then they would pull me for something. They'd be like, StudMuffin, can you come over here? And the one I remember was they had like in the middle of that room. They had these 3 or 4 like glamour mirrors with all these lights and stuff. And you've probably seen them when they show these pre-packages where the talent will stand in front of the mirror and you'll see it. They're like, okay, what we want you to do is to pretend to do your act in front of the mirror like you're getting ready. So I'm like, with no music. So I'm just going to be doing my hip thing in front of the mirror. And they're like, yeah, just do it until we tell you to stop. So I'm just sitting there doing this in front of the mirror, and I can see through my peripherals. I'm seeing people watch me, right? I heard somebody go, what the hell is he doing? And I'm just sitting there sweating because I'm just sitting there doing it, and I'm like, are you guys gonna like tell me to stop sometime soon? Eventually and the funny, they never even use the shot. See, they film a lot of stuff with you. That's the pre-production day. They film a lot of stuff with you, so if you make it to the show, they have material to use for your like your segment package or whatever. They did a lot of other cool stuff. They had me sit down with other talents, people that were auditioning. There was this French guy. I wish I knew his name. He was a really cool dude. He did like gadgets and doohickeys. They had me sit with him, and they filmed like us talking, like, oh, like, what are you here for? What are you doing here? And it was really cool. He was a nice guy. And they were like, they stopped us. They're like, no, you guys ask StudMuffin more about him. Like, ask him about himself. Like, and we were. And he was like, what do you want me to ask him? What color his underwear is? Like, I guess he didn't understand the language barrier or whatever, but he was a really nice guy, and it was a cool thing. The awkward one, though. Here's a real awkward one. And I'm trying to remember, what was their names? Give me a second. Let me look at this real quick. I try to remember their name. They were the Australian dance group on AGT. So let's see, Australian Dance Group AGT Season 19. Sorry, I should have been more prepared. Brent Street. Okay, you've seen them, right? They were this huge dance group of teenagers from Australia. I think they made it a couple of rounds. They might have got a gold buzzer. I think so. They were really good. And the funny thing about it is this never got shown, but this is legit. So they're doing all these things, and they finally go, hey, StudMuffin, come over here. We want to do another segment thing with you. So they have me go over next to Brent Street because, and this is solely on the basis that our acts are revolving around dance, because it wasn't like when I filled out my what am I doing here, it's not that I'm a comedian or entertainer. No, my thing was I'm a dancer. Okay? That's what they put me down for. So like, oh, we want to do this thing where you guys are interacting because you guys are both dancing. You're going to ask them, what are they, like, StudMuffin, you're going to ask, because they pick like 3 people from Brent Street, 2 girls and a guy or something like that. And like, you're going to talk to them, and in this conversation, you'll be like, oh, what are you here for? And they're going to be like, oh, we're dancers. And what are you here for? And I'm going to be like, I dance too. And they're going to be like, really? That's the setup, right? So I'm a fatty, so I'm sweating because I'm moving a lot. And they're sitting next to me, next to these girls and this guy. And they're like, all right, ask the questions. So we asked the question. They're like, oh, what are you here for? I ask, what are you guys doing here? Oh, we're dancing. And then they go, what are you here for? I'm like, oh, I'm a dancer. And then one of the girls goes, oh, really? And then they're like, okay, we want you guys to like, for like 30 seconds, just look at each other and go, because I guess they're going to use it in the footage, right? So me, a fat neckbeard, sitting there sweating, looking at the girls, and they're looking at me. I'll never forget that. That was just super awkward. They were cool though. They said good luck, and I said good luck to you guys. And then, now mind you, I'm telling you all this stuff, but this seems like a lot of stuff. But it's spacing every few hours because I'm literally there all day. And one of the last things they do is they're like, "Hey, StudMuffin, let's take you out to the stage." So you get an idea of what the placement of the stage is going to be looking like for your audition in the next day. Like, oh, okay, cool. So they take me out there, and meanwhile, they're in between tapings because they tape set of auditions, and then they take a break, and then they tape some more. Well, they happened to be in a break in between auditions, so they had me come out. They're like, all right, go to the Red X. We're going to see what you look like out there, and blah, blah, blah. And they said, do you want us to play the music? I'm like, yeah, maybe, right, because they presented the music to me earlier to make sure it was the right one. So I go out on the stage, and the auditorium is full. Everybody's there. Either, I think they're waiting for the next audition taping. And they're like, hey, StudMuffin, do you want to do your routine? Do you want to practice it? Do you know? I'm like, in my mind, I'm screaming because I'm like, I wasn't prepared. They didn't tell me there was going to be a room full of people. So I said, no, I know, and I'm good. Because, like, what the hell am I going to be practicing? I'm just going to be swinging my hips. I mean, it's only going to last 5 seconds anyway. They're going to all buzz me out as soon as I start doing this. So why do I need to practice? So I don't practice, and I leave. And then I sit around for a while. And I was waiting all day because I assumed that they took everybody over to this one corner and did like a detailed interview. You've seen it with all the people that made it through. So maybe they didn't do that to me because they didn't think I was going to make it through, but they used my whole segment. So I don't know. I was waiting all day for that audition, and it never happened. And then I finally at like 8:30 at night, they go, "You're good. You're good to go. We'll see you tomorrow. Your call time is like 9 or 10 or something like that." So I'm like, okay. So get to rest, go back to the hotel, get up the next morning. My wife goes, hey, because I had my hair up in a ponytail. She's like, when you go do it, like, how are you going to start? And I said, I'm probably just going to do what I normally do on my TikToks. I'm going to turn around. And she goes, when you do that, like, go back and rip your ponytail out and mess your hair up and be all goofy. I'm like, huh, not a half bad idea. I'll do that. So that's what I ended up doing. But I get there, there for, I want to say, I think my audition was like around 12. So I was only there for like 2 or 3 hours. And there was a lot of just sitting around still. Because we were, they were like, all right, we'll come and get you when it's time. And then probably about 45 minutes before I actually went out there, they pulled me, like, all right, we're going to take you to your staging area. And then, like, they took me to this side room, and then one of the producers was like, all right, we're going to go over what you're going to say. Here are some of the questions that the judges may ask you. So I'll just rapid fire some of these questions, and then just give me your answer, how you would do it. Like, some of the questions were like, if you won the $1 million, what would you do? They never asked me that on the stage, but these were examples. So she would go over with me the time. She goes, where you go to the X, they talk to you, they ask you questions, and then when you're done, then you come back, and then blah, blah, blah. So they took me to the holding area where you actually see where the people walk out on the stage. I was in a line. I think I was maybe fourth or fifth. I was behind these kids that did like this magic trick. I forgot what they were called, what their act was. And they had me there. They pulled me back out a little bit. I still had about an hour to go. I know the timeline seems weird, but this all happened so quick. They had me go outside to like right in front of the theater where everybody was coming in, and they mic'd me up. So they're like, the one guy's like, "Have you ever had a dude put his hand up your shirt?" And I said, "No, not since I was in high school." Kind of trying to break the ice. And he goes like, "What the hell?" He goes, "Well, we're going to be doing that because we're going to be miking you up because you're going to be going outside for a little bit." So they would take me outside to where the actual people that were watching the show came in, and they're like, "We want you to go out there and like you're going to stand with these people." And they put me out with these people. They're like, "All right, this is StudMuffin. He's auditioning today. I want you guys to pretend like he's showing up. So StudMuffin, you're going to pretend like you're just showing up for your audition." And you guys just talk to him, ask him what he's doing and all that stuff. So you see that, not to like peek behind the curtain of the wizard here, but that's pretty much that whole setup. No, people don't show up the day of their audition. They're there quite some extensive time beforehand. And they filmed me coming up like the steps and like doing these shots of me looking around. And I go out there and my grandmother, she's going, "Aaron, Aaron," and she's trying to come over and get my attention, and I'm trying to be like, "We're filming," and my Uncle Robin was kind of pulled her reins back. It's like, they're filming something, but they do that. I go back inside, then they start loading everybody in for that taping. I'm in like the standby deck, and that's where I see Terry Crews up there. He's standing there waiting for everybody to come back. That was cool. My onstage producer came up to me and was like, "All right, this is what you're going to do. We're going to have, when it's your turn, you're going to go up to Terry. We'll film like the introduction where, you talk to him. He's going to ask you a few questions, ask you if you're ready for this. And then we're going to send you out. Once you're done, you're going to come back and we'll have Terry ask you how you feel, and then on your way, and then we'll see what happens." Okay. So I go up, and I'm pretty nervous when I'm seeing Terry up there. Finally, I go up to him. He's cool. Coolest guy. He was really awesome. I was really nervous. I've said that before. I was very nervous. You couldn't drive a railroad spike up my rear. I was so nervous. And he said, what are you doing?" And I said, "I'm dancing." And he asked me about my name. I said, "Well, they call me the StudMuffin, but clearly you are the StudMuffin." And he's like, "No, don't talk. No, you are. The banter. I get it." And he's like, "Just go out there and have fun. Be yourself. And just have a good time." And that calmed me down a little bit. And then they're like, "StudMuffin, go on out." And I went out. It was crazy. And the whole time I'm out there, I'm just staring. Because I'm trying to not look at anybody so I can not panic, right? They ask me, the questions. They're like, "Oh, what do you do?" And I go, I'm a dancer." And then they asked me, why do they call... Well, I think Heidi asked me, why do I call myself StudMuffin? And I kid you not, I don't know how I did this, but on the spot, I did the line, "Well, I'm hot and the people call me a stud. I'm hot and fluffy like a muffin. So 1 + 2 = 3, StudMuffin Supreme." No, it was the 1, I'm a stud. 2, I'm hot and fluffy like a muffin. So 1 + 2 = 3, StudMuffin Supreme. Really cringe line. At the time, I thought, "Oh, wow, look what I did on the spot." And I promised my wife, because she's very camera shy, I promised her I would not call her out. I said, "Babe, I will not call you out. You don't have to worry about it." Because like I said, she's very, very shy and timid. And I was lucky that she even showed up to the thing, because she's super, she's freaks out by being around a lot of people. And my mom, who's in the audience with her, gets really loud and boisterous because that's her baby boy out there. So obviously she's going to get super excited. And the judges get their attention. And you've seen this if you've seen the audition. Heidi goes, "Who is that? Is that your wife?" And then my mom goes, "No, I'm his mother." So then someone goes, "Well, where's your wife?" And I can't lie at this point, so I go, "That's her up there. She's up there somewhere." And my wife is just so angry. She did not want to be called out like that. But my mom was super proud, super boisterous because her knee was really, she had just had surgery on her knee not too long prior to that. But she stood up anyway because she was super proud. It was like really awesome for her to see me go out there. And I just because they knew it was silly, but the fact that I made it on a big stage like that, it was absolutely insane. So I do my audition. Now, on the airing of the show, it doesn't last very long. And like I said, I did not think I was making it past 5 seconds of this. I thought as soon as I started doing what I was doing, as soon as I turned around, started throwing my front butt around, X, X, X. And they tell you, listen, if you hear that X go off, don't stop until all the X's. Once all the X's go out, then you stop. But until that happens, no matter what happens, if one X goes off or two, you keep going. So, and that thing was loud, by the way. You don't realize how loud that is until you're under this stupid thing, but it's freaking loud, right? The first one kind of startled me. But here's the thing. As you saw in the show, if you hadn't seen it, if you hadn't seen it, I went the entire time. On the show, it looked like 30 seconds. It was 2 minutes. They said the whole thing should last 2 minutes if it goes. And I'm sitting there thinking, no way, I'm not making that. I'm making like 5 seconds. Heidi did not buzz me out. So I'm doing this for 2 minutes. Now, that may not seem a lot to somebody, but I'm a big dude, and I was way heavier than I am now then. And sitting there doing that with my knees. My knees were screaming. I'm in my inner monologue is like, will someone please just tell Heidi to push this stupid buzzer, end my suffering. And she didn't. But she liked me, so either she liked me or she wanted to see me just do that for 2 minutes just to be a sadist. But either way, shout out Heidi. I went the 2 minutes. What's funny is my TikTok videos are normally like 15 seconds, and it's just that one move. So I didn't know what to do. That's why I did the whole disco thing. That's where I put the hand over the head. I hadn't really done a lot of that yet. I turned to one side and did it, and turned it to the other side of the arena and did it. And so like I was just, at one point I'm like, drop down and do the worm, but like I'm glad I didn't do that because that would have been horrifying. I wouldn't have been able to get back up. So finally the song stops, and then the judges obviously critique me. The one person I was worried about was going to be really hard on me was Simon, but he actually wasn't. He was like, it was interesting. I would have added a few moves to that. And I said, well, to be fair, I only do this for 15 seconds, a video on TikTok. And I said something in fact like, yeah, that was a workout. Can't you tell by my breathing? And then Sophia was like, because she liked it at first, and then she ended up buzzing me out. She goes, yeah, you should have done more. And then Howie was like, which I was surprised that he didn't like me. For some reason, I thought this would have been ironically funny to him, but it wasn't. But he didn't really care for me. He actually made the comment with Heidi was like, you would mind if I did those moves? And then Howie was like, you would be looking good doing those moves. Which, yeah, I get it. Heidi Klum doing that compared to me. Shut up, Howie. I should have sneezed on him. No, nothing against Howie. He's just Howie. He actually, I ended up finding out that he retweeted the post shared by AGT of me saying that this guy's full of spirit. Check him out. So he's not a total dickhead, but at the time I was like, wow, I can't believe you didn't like this. I thought you would at least chuckle at this. Obviously, I didn't make it through. I only got Heidi, whether she was genuine or just ironic, gave me a yes to the other judges' 3 no's. I went back, met Terry Crews again. He thought, he goes, dude, you rocked it. All the producers were like, you were awesome. That was great. I'm like, awesome. And they're like, we loved your mother's reaction so much. Can we bring her down here and film some more stuff with you guys? And I said, if she wants to. And then they brought her down, and she was talking about, how cool it was to be walking down the hall and hearing a guy go, "We got StudMuffin's mother. We got StudMuffin's mother." So they brought her back. We filmed some other stuff. I had to put my hair back up because they're like, "We want to film as if she was with you in this like before the audition." So they took me back to the holding room. They filmed us walking in as if we had just got there, which is probably why you didn't see the one of me in the front of the theater. They filmed us talking to each other. You've seen that. That was in my opening package. And then once that was done, they're like, "All right, you're good to go." And they said, "All right, and we'll get in contact with you and let you know if you're going to be aired or not." And they really didn't contact me at all until literally 6 days before my episode aired, because the episode prior to the one I was on, which would have been June 4th, I saw myself in the preview of the next episode, and that was the first inclination that I was going to be on it. And then the next day I got a call from him, "Hey, I don't know if you saw it, but you're going to be on it. Not only are you going to be on it, but we liked you so much, you're going to be a whole segment." Like, what? A whole segment? So my whole segment aired. My Instagram and all that stuff surged, spiked up in, because they collabed with my Instagram, my TikTok. Huge surge of followers. A lot of the negatives, which a lot of people were super negative, which I knew that going in. They were like, "Wow, his mother must really not. Wow, look how disparate they are. Look at all this. His mom's trying to steal his attention." They didn't know the whole story about everything. They didn't know the whole reasons I was there. I was doing most of this because, and I didn't mention this before, but like I said earlier, my grandfather's health was in bad shape. I almost didn't go out to do that audition because his health was in rough shape. But like I told you, he told me to go, so I went, and that was the main reason I wanted to. One of the biggest reasons, because I wanted to do it, and hopefully his health wouldn't decline to the point where he couldn't see it. I was fortunate enough that he saw it. He saw it the day after it aired. I was there with him, and although he wasn't feeling the greatest, he had a big smile on his face that he got to see me on there, and he got to brag about it to his sisters. I'm sure, "Hey, that's my grandboy. He was on there." And then he passed away 2 months later. So one of the things I'm proud of, as silly and as stupid as what I did on there, I'm proud that I got to do something to make him feel proud before he left. But I don't want to get too sappy. Don't want to drag on anymore. But yes, that was my whole experience auditioning for AGT. Wanted to get that out there. If you haven't seen my audition video, I don't know if they're still promoting the video anymore, but just look up StudMuffin Supreme, America's Got Talent. I'm sure you'll see that video out there. Someone's uploaded it. But check it out if you haven't seen it, and then tell me how cringy I was. But anyway, guys, thanks for sticking into And Now It's Your Podcast, Episode 2. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next time.